Hey guys, how we doing? Dan here with Foster the People podcast. Today, we got a little bit of special today. We got Josh involved in our conversation. We got Jonas, Josh, and myself. You know, guys, I want to start out with just a quick silence for remembrance of Ozzy Osbourne. So please, let's just all give a silence for a moment here. All right, guys. Ozzy, we wish, we appreciate everything you've done for the last 5 decades, man, and we really feel sorry for the family. And, hey, man, all I can tell you from my heart of being a rock and roll person, we're going to miss you. Jonas, what's your take on Ozzy? You know more than Josh does about that.
Well, I mean, he's a cultural icon for sure, and he changed the game. And for me, from my political perspective, in my opinion, he wrote one of the top 5 most important songs ever written in War Pigs.
Amen. Amen.
When you listen to the words in War Pigs and just start at the very beginning with the generals gather at their masses, just like witches at black masses.
Yep.
And that was not by mistake. A lot of people say that Sabbath were devil worshippers. They were calling out the devil worshippers.
That is so
in
true.
that song, they called them out. And later on in the song, where it's talking about politicians, they don't send their kids to war; they send the poor kids off to war.
Yeah. Well,
That's the nature of the game. And when they made that song, he was probably no older than 22, 23 years old. They started Sabbath, he was 17, 18 years old.
Yep.
And then they end up coming up with this song. And a lot of that music from that era, if you really listen to Pink Floyd and listen to what they're saying, they're warning you about what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, look at this recently, like Guns N' Roses, Civil War. That song, Civil War, freaking where they're talking about, like you said, we're sending all of our young kids in, watch our children die for war. And it's true, man. It really is true. Let's go to Josh. Do you know anything about Ozzy Osbourne?
Nope.
And that's and how old are you, Josh?
24. 25 next week.
But why would he?
Well, I mean, you know the song Crazy Train.
Yeah, I've heard.
Riding off the rails on a crazy train.
Yeah, I know he's a rock star, but I don't know too much more besides that.
I mean, you think about it. Ironically enough, the guy was hardcore into drugs. Okay, I mean, beyond core. He even had the TV show, The Osbournes, and you saw him during that. He could barely talk, but he could sing. He's one of those type of artists
He had
that
an
had a
unbelievable
hard of a time talking, but you put him in front of a mic, he could sing.
Oh, he had an unbelievable voice that you really couldn't comprehend, like how this person that seems so belligerent could possibly be singing these songs so beautifully. And when it comes to the Crazy Train and all that, it made him into a pop star. This was this guy who was the lead singer of this satanic Black Sabbath heavy hit hard rock music all through the 70s. And then all of a sudden he comes out with these albums that, like, for me, Crazy Train was the entrance music for my wrestling team when I was in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
It was like everyone on the wrestling team run around the mat to Crazy Train, do all your push-ups and everything like that before the meet starts.
He used to do it for the Bucks game.
Yeah, that was the hype game.
Man, the Bucks, when the Bucks came out, you just have the entrance. They still do it occasionally. I wonder if it's going to come back around. But, he worked with so many different artists, like Lita Ford had a whole bunch of things.
Oh, God.
I mean, there's just so many stuff he did. And I know a lot of people, especially the young kids nowadays, Sweet Leaf. Bow, bow,
Yeah.
Talking about marijuana. You introduced me to my mind. And, that's what it is. A lot of people back in the 60s and 70s were just starting to smoke weed, and it got to be a big thing. And that's when it came out, man. And then, he went from Sabbath to freaking Ozzy himself, and he had a hell of a fucking solo thing. And the thing about his wife.
And then came back.
Well, some of the stories that Sharon told about him literally trying to attack her, and they had panic buttons all through the house because he was
that's the thing,
a little bit of a lunatic there for a while.
When I first heard the news yesterday, and right next to his name it says Ozzy Osbourne dies at 76 years old. How many people would have imagined that Ozzy Osbourne, in the condition that he was in, was going to make it to 76 years old?
Yeah.
Like, it is an accomplishment in itself that he made it there.
Now, the question I have for everybody, he was suffering. So did he go to Switzerland and get euthanized, or did he just naturally die wherever he died? I haven't heard anything about that one.
We'll never know the answer to that. That's one of those things that's a private thing, if he decided that this was enough or not.
Well, I mean, let's be dead honest about it. But that last show that he put on just like a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I don't know what the time was.
Yeah, it was like early July.
Right? He was literally in that chair, and you could tell. He couldn't move, man. He was just sitting in that chair. They literally pulled his chair. This guy ran on the stage and literally pulled the chair back out. And then he just sat there. You could tell he was struggling singing. So I think in the back of his mind, he knew that freaking the days were coming to the end.
Well, didn't he say at the end of the concert that this is definitely his last show? Like, he knew.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, that's a blessing. If you're at near end of life and you know it and you've accepted it and you walk away with grace.
Yeah, well,
that's beautiful.
It. I mean, that's one thing, I struggle as the older I get. Okay, I was telling Josh, I've talked to you about it. You don't realize that when you started getting it. Okay, you're 24. God, you think life's full of fun. You can do whatever. You can eat whatever the hell you want. You can sing when you can do whatever the hell you want to do. At 60, you're like going, wow, I'm getting closer to today. How many more summers do I have left? I mean, blessed. My father's 95. He'll be 96. My uncle will be 93 this year. Man, I partied like an animal. My parents and my dad and my uncle didn't party like I did. So I don't see that happening, man.
Or
so
eat
really,
what we ate.
Yeah, we didn't have all the fast food and stuff. My dad, I don't think he even started getting McDonald's till he was like freaking maybe 40. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and he don't eat it. He only eats it when we go with the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. It just makes you wonder in your life. You go, how much more life? And then you got to ask yourself, are you going to be one of these ones that are fortunate enough you can just go to sleep and not wake up? Or are you going to suffer like my mother-in-law who had cancer, who had to go through all the treatments and the hell for years, and then my mother who went through 4 years of dementia? God, I think honestly, if there is a way that we can euthanize ourselves, and you know damn well that there's no turning back, I think we should all have that opportunity to say, hey, it's pleasant. We sit down with our family. We say our goodbyes, you give us a shot, we move on. Why should the freaking medical facilities drag it out, pay thousands of dollars to keep us alive?
What do you mean, why?
The
whole reason that they do it is in order to make sure that they get every last dime out of you. See, this is the problem, and this is a common theme on my Mass Empowerment Project posts, is this system has been created to have you run on their rat wheel as long as you possibly can, accumulate whatever you possibly can, and then be in such poor health as you are nearing the end of your life that you need assistance just to get by day to day. And they charge astronomical amounts of money, like $10,000 to stay in this home per month.
Yeah.
It's like 5 times what I was paying for my mortgage and all my bills my whole damn life. What kind of bullshit is that? And it's all just designed so to make sure that you provide the system what they need from you with your energy for your whole entire life.
Yep.
And then we're going to take everything away by the end so that you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's why building a legacy and all that is so important. And then you start looking into the kind of financial structures you have to put together in order to protect yourself so that doesn't happen to you, whether it's trusts, IULs, all kinds of different things that are feeding one another. And then, for me, from my perspective, because I'm very much like, I realize that true survival comes from Earth and your connection to Earth. And, I
started already getting the Kathleen. She wants to be the Reiki thing. Got to get the Earth in the what do you call it, the stones and stuff.
No, but I'm talking about water.
Well,
your water is prepared. Yeah. Your food comes out of the ground.
Oh yeah.
Those are the things that give you true security. But instead we have all these financial instruments that have been created in order for you to get your slice of the usury that is going on inside the banking system. If I get myself in here, if I work the bank this proper way so they can give me this loan so that I can buy it. Yeah. This is all bullshit.
It is.
It's all overcomplications. And if I was in Josh's shoes at 24 years old,
that's what we're glad to bring him
I'm looking at this life that is being laid out for me to go insert myself into, I would be discouraged. I'd be like, why am I going to? I've just watched my brothers, my fathers, my grandparents all run on this wheel and see where they're at. And I know that it's getting it's becoming more and more of a faster and faster rat race. What do I do? And not all young people are completely discouraged. I mean, Josh is a hard worker, and he's on his thing. But when somebody says to me, "Oh, well, these kids, they just all tapped out and they're just doing drugs and they don't want to work," I'm like, I understand why you would not want to work when you see the system that's laid out before.
Well, I give you that, but let's be dead honest. Okay, well, let me do this. I'm not going to go to myself. I want to talk to Josh because, Josh, I want your philosophy as a young man. You're competing with the 50s, 60s. You're in your 20s. So what do you think for young people? What do you feel is the journey for people? And what are they looking at? What can we as older people try to relate to younger people's mindsets?
I think it's all very situational, and there's a lot of different paths. There's the path, like you said, Jonas, where there's a lot of kids out there who they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. They don't see a future because they never had to work for it at all in their life. And there was a mentor, a leadership mentor I listened to, where he literally broke it down to this group that he was talking to, and it was, not you individual, but your generation did this on purpose. They decided that if we could just bulldoze and clear a way for our kids so they didn't have to go through any of the stuff that we went through. That's why, your kindergarten might have looked different. Our kindergarten was whether you put the macaroni on the paper, your face, it's still art. You know what I mean? Yours was hide under the desk when you hear the bomb go off. You know what I mean? The light, because, you'll be safe from a nuclear explosion under a desk. You know what I mean? So they made this path of bulldozer parenting to make sure that there's no obstacles for your kids, your generation ahead of you. So then, that guy decided to, he was telling that story, and he's like, well, we can't get mad at them for doing that. And there's a big statistic he brought up that, their unemployment rate might be low because it excludes those not looking for work. And my generation and below is the highest percentage of people they're just not looking for work. You can't find workers because they're not looking.
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't. And then there's people, that might be like me, even some better than me, who are already in their careers. I got friends who make, 5 times my salary in the tech field. You know what I mean? Yeah. Younger than me. You know what I mean? Because they went to that kind of college and did that. So there's both sides of the spectrum, but this is a huge inflated bubble that was created by this mindset. And also the technology, the phones, the introduction of laziness, the instant satisfaction. I think we're finally coming over this hump where it's not been productive. It's destroyed communication. Sure. It's divided families. It's done that. Now we're getting to this world of AI. And I was studying this guy last night. He got kicked out of Harvard for cheating. Yeah. But his product, he's doing all this crazy stuff in Silicon Valley. He made a product, and he says today it's going to be cheating. Tomorrow it's going to be, this is just how it's done. Yeah. And it's just when you're talking, you could be in a Zoom call having a conversation, and it's like, if I'm doing tech support, it's listening and live transcribing and like, here's how this works. Here's how this works. You know what I mean? Feeding you the information, and that's going to be the future. In my opinion.
I believe
and
that. And
all these big AI advancements that I'm seeing, because I'm in kind of that space where I do my own coding and my own projects, it's crazy. Everything is, I don't know if it's scary because it's going to replace the human aspect of it one day, but it's opening up the doors for so much more opportunity and creativity. And wasn't there 5 years ago.
Let's talk about it. Josh, you and I have been working with this AI. Okay? Yeah. And we're trying to do it to assist our team on getting sales and trying to get appointments. And mainly what it is because we do the old school telemarketing. And if you know how many spam calls you get a day, 10, 20, 30. So the average person's not even going to pick the phone up. They're going to wait till you leave a message. And then if it seems important, they might call you back. So we figured, okay, not that we're trying to get rid of any employees, but if we could have the AI pretty much do this for us, they can consistently do
the dialing.
2, 3, 4, 500 calls, or we might get 60 or 100. So we have a higher number intake, and then we would take these people into more retaining the phone calls, doing more different type of sales, doing other type of work, which I could see if that's more effective than human beings, which I feel like it could be people out of jobs.
Well, that brings up a very interesting philosophical perspective, and I'll ask both of you guys to venture outside of your current mindset to follow me on this.
All right.
If you've ever heard, there was a guy back in the early 70s named Jacques Fresco.
Yep.
And he bought a big, huge piece of land down in the middle of Florida called Venus, Florida. And he started a thing called the Venus Project. And the idea was to take technology and pretty much automate existence for people through radial cities and robotics and things like that. And everything being nice and healthy, like they have a center garden, and every city has a center garden, which you are just free to go to. And everything takes at that time he wasn't using the term AI, he was just talking about robotics and automation. But the whole concept is this. The reason why we worry about what the unemployment number is because we believe that things need to cost a certain amount of money. So we need jobs in order to do that. If in a fully automated world, there is no need for the bills. Yeah. It's already there. So life itself, the cost of living should drop substantially. And really, the only time you really should have to be worried about money is if it's things that you want to go after that are extra. You know what I mean? But the essentials of life, like we were talking about, roof over your head, clean water, food, electricity, all of those things can literally be achieved now. And especially with things like the hydrogen power being like finally released on the world, hydrogen power can free humanity tomorrow. There's no reason for the cost of living to keep going up and up and up, except for the fact that the banking system only exists as long as everybody's in debt. So they need to keep the cost of living ever rising. And when you realize those two things, then it gives you, at least it gives me, motivation to go create that new world. And all I want is the freedom to create that new world without them.
The only thing I think about, okay, let's be honest about it, I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where it's going to be completely service. Okay? You're not going to have, okay, let's talk about the fire protection issue. I don't think you're ever going to get to a point where you're going to have a robot go to a freaking place, go inside that building, put a certification tag on it, make sure that the fire alarm panel is programmed properly. I mean, I don't know. It could be an automated system, and maybe you just have to send the government saying that someone came by. There's certain services I don't think you're necessarily ever going to go completely. Okay, let's also talk about you need maintenance done on your house.
That's what I mean.
You're telling me that you're going to have a plumber, a robot come in, what? Fix the plumbing issues?
That ain't happening tomorrow.
Not anytime.
And then I go on top of it, okay, because we can't find good help, those simple tasks for an AC, for a heat guy, for a plumber, for basic stuff, you're going to be starting paying thousands of bucks, when it normally should have been a couple $100, because you can't get that demand.
Well,
we're struggling right now trying to find employees that just want a basic job. And they don't even have the common courtesy. Hey, look, this is not for me. I appreciate the opportunity, or hey, we appreciate it. Because we always tell them, okay, come in, give us 72 hours to try it out, or 24 hours to try it out, or 3 days, all right? And if you don't like it, no hard feelings. If you don't like it the first day, no hard feelings. But they beg us for the job, and then they come out and they're like, and instead of saying, hey, this ain't for me, they just don't call, don't show, don't do nothing.
Well, one of the biggest, I'll ask you guys both, I already know what my answer to this is, but what do you think is the biggest contributor to the massive cost of living that we currently live on?
Government.
Yeah.
Well, government and corporate greed.
That has parts to do with it.
I'm going to say starting off by government is allowing corporate greed to be taking place. And that's where I feel like Trump is finally getting in there and making things back to somewhat where they're supposed to be. I don't think he'll ever be able to clean up the mess in the amount of time he's been there. But if you look just in the 7 months he's been in office, hell, he's done more in 7 months than the freaking Obamas, the Clintons, and freaking Biden has done in office. What does that tell you? All right, he's already brought down the gas prices. He's already brought back, even our housing has gone down. But now, let me go a little bit to this left here. On the housing, for any of you people out there that are watching, you notice how the housing industry is starting to flatline coming down too. And why is that?
Because it was overpriced.
Well, no.
That's the biggest reason why.
I'm going to tell you here in the state of Florida, because the majority of people were coming down here because we didn't have storms in this area. We didn't have these hurricanes. We didn't have these natural disasters, all right? We used to have people from New York and California and Ohio always coming down. I mean, I used to be able to put a for rent sign up there, and within 3 days, I would have somebody here. Now, because of storms, people are paranoid. At the last meeting we went to, the networking meeting group, we went to the Treasure Island thing. I talked to a couple of realtors. They're saying they got properties on the beach that they can't rent out because people are afraid to come live on the beach. And let's be dead honest about it. We only got like 3-4 months away. We're already in hurricanes. In 3-4 months, we might be back into the same thing here. So that's going to happen is us people that live here near the water, if we get our ass kicked again, our property values are going to drop $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, maybe more, depending how bad it is. So it's making people fearful. Then also, if you guys heard, and I haven't seen it in a while, but they're saying, there's like feces in the water, so don't go to the beaches and stuff.
Right.
Remember, they had all kind of stuff. So it's sort of like pushing people away.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where the hell they're going to, but if you think about it, every single state is having some kind of freaking disaster, national disaster, fires, floods, flash floods.
Yeah.
Come on, man. They haven't had anything. Look at Aspen.
In every single state.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Something ain't right, dude. Now,
Well,
warming? Or let's throw it to him. Because you and I talk that. I want to
Yeah.
hear from his perspective. What do you think, Josh?
I don't know what to think.
And that's a great way to start.
That's the problem, is because it's not, at least from what I believe, it's not out of the realm of possibility that it could all be artificial. You know what I mean? It could all be natural disasters, can be with a secret agenda behind them, in my opinion. I don't know if that's every single one. I'm not going to go out and, protest that it is, but I'm not going to say, well, that's too far-fetched, because I've seen so much change so recently. It's like, it wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? And I don't know what you guys think about that. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a reason for it, you know what I mean? But
what is your take? I don't know if you know him, if you kept up in the news, but just look what we talk about P. Diddy and like Epstein. These are like really broad things. And what do you feel about that in corruption in society? I mean, you weren't probably really around when we were partying up with the P. Diddy's and all that stuff, but I mean, what's your take on that type of news and information? How does that impact your life?
I mean, again, I'm a big believer, like you've said specifically. A lot of that isn't going to impact my life because I don't choose to let it. I don't care. A lot of the things is like, whether someone believes this or that, a lot of it is that I think a lot of it's media hype, manipulation. I think a lot of it is just because knowing how marketing and media works, there's a lot of things that are fake. The news is meant to be bad because it's what people want to see.
Entertaining.
You know what I mean? That's expect bad news because that's how it is. I think there is a lot of secret stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I agree with what a lot of you say, Jonas, you know what I mean, to a degree. I've just never really took the time to study into it, but it doesn't surprise me, you know what I mean? And I don't think it's that far-fetched. I think there's a lot of stuff that, that just scratches the surface. You know what I mean? I think the powers that be are more than we'll ever have the even understanding of. You know what I mean? The powers behind the scenes that are actually making the decisions, I think there's a lot. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's not something I go home and wrap my mind about or think about. I'm kind of trapped in that. Maybe it's a young mentality where I'm just living my day-to-day life.
Well, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, because I tell myself saying that I get it, popped in my feed or something, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. But I don't dwell on it, I dwell on my surroundings, us people that we hang out with. And granted, they always say, who you hang out with is who you become. And unless we does that, we start to hang out with P. Diddy or Trump, you start changing your perspective. I
think it's good that there are people that look into it deeper and demand the truth and, are in that pursuit, and they make that their, their mission. You know what I mean? That's their legacy. Maybe they want to awaken a certain amount of people or bring light to certain issues.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That brings the enemy on Doge and Elon Musk. What is your take on that as a young one, where he got in there, he did a hell of a job, and now Trump and him are like no longer lovers anymore?
Well, I think the initiative to clean up government waste, I don't think there's anyone who there shouldn't be anyone who's opposed to that. I know there is people who are going to be opposed to everything, but if you...
Well, the people that have those jobs.
Well, yeah, of course.
They don't want their jobs eliminated. That was what I was trying to get to earlier with a question about what causes the cost of living to be what it is. It is all middlemen.
Yeah.
From all walks of life, whether it's got all the middlemen, all the people that have their hands in every transaction and don't actually provide anything to the transaction. They're not streamlining anything. They're making everything has more friction, whether it's a bureaucracy where you have to sign your licensing agreements and your insurances that you need to do.
Yeah.
All these little things that make the cost of interacting with other human beings in a free way harder to do.
Yeah, but you have to admit, guys, okay, like the one situation I'm having with one of my tenants, okay, this barely comes on this ego trip of who has power, all right? And it basically comes down to is that, why can't we just all get along? Why can't we just, okay, you haven't heard anything about it blowing up Russia and Ukraine and all that? You haven't heard anything like that in a week or two. Why is that, man? It used to be like every freaking news feed was, they're blowing up. They just freaking blew up apartment complex, millions of people. And Trump, like a week ago, said, we got to get Putin to stop this. This is a disgrace. He's killing, civilians there and have nothing to do with this. And then all of a sudden you don't hear it. To me, it's sort of like we're bringing up subjects. They're just keeping us pushing to something to the side. So it's always on the side of us.
Yes.
And you never know what is going to be the right way to go. And I think that's one of the problems in the younger society. They're seeing everything, so it's like, well, fuck, what am I going to do? But then I try to always preach to the young ones, mainly because us old ones have been down that road. You guys got to take this opportunity while you're young to think about where you're going to be in 10, 20 years. Like he said, right now, to go live in a nursing home is about $8,000 to $10,000, $12,000, depending on where you go to. 30, 40, 50 years from now, hell, you'll be paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. And I think that what happens is the younger generations do, fuck it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just not going to worry about it. It's never going to happen to me. Because I know when I was 25, probably 30, I never thought about it either. I mean, do you ever think about you might have to go to a nursing home?
I won't. I won't.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to take
and I'll tell you why.
I mean,
and it has a lot to do with what we were
All right.
talking about earlier at the beginning of this situation about
Right.
being able to take yourself out if you want to.
Well, that's
if
what
I'm at the spot where I need to be going
Yes.
into a nursing home, I really, really like the old Native American way of doing it. Like when a tribe needed to move from one place to the other, and there was the elderly in the tribe, they would voluntarily stay behind and just die out in the wilderness, and that's the way that.
But let's be honest, you're not going to sit in the back of your house in a tree when everybody leaves just go, how much am I? I mean, we have to have some type of plans. My thing is euthanasia. Okay, I think we should be going across the board, pounding the streets, saying, look, if I can prove from a doctor's medical standpoint saying that, hey, I only got a few months left.
Even if I had 10 years left, if
Well, that's to me. I'm talking about
it's
6
10
months
years,
to the year.
if it's 10 years, but I know that my mental aptitude is gone.
Yeah.
I can't hear, or my eyes are gone. My leg doesn't work right. And they're like, you know what? It's
Okay,
cool.
well, hold on, man. I can't hear like I used to. I can't see like I used to. My leg don't
Well, no,
work. So what? Just all right. Take me
No,
out
but it's
back,
that's a
Josh, and just put me out back and trap me to a tree.
no, it's a personal choice for each person. You know.
I
But the
understand
medicine's going to be so different.
Better.
I mean, there's studies that say the first person who's going to live forever is already alive, based upon
Yeah.
medical stuff. Now, whether or not that is going to happen within my lifetime, or if it's just one of those, in 2015 they said everyone would be sleeping with robots. That's whether it's one of those things or one of
Watch
these
out,
things.
honey. Here comes the robot.
Where's my robot eye? Is her name Betty?
But that's the thing. It's like we don't know what the future holds medically, but it also is very big. I believe that it might not just happen here because, like you said, the medical system is so powerful.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I
it
mean?
would-
Look at the prices of this versus look at some other countries. You know what I mean? For the same medicine, for the same.
Well, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? It's like-
Canada and Mexico, you can get the stuff for a quarter. the price
Why
you
would
pay
the
over here.
pharmaceutical companies want to introduce cancer curing
Yeah.
technology or stem anything that has the ability to make them less profit? So,
Right.
I mean, like I
They're
said,
not
it goes-
motivated to cure
there's no
anything.
benefit.
Because
Exactly.
it goes back to corporate greed. Okay, it'd be like us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even in your business. Are you willing just to go out there and do it for free because you're Mr. Nice Guy? I sure as hell ain't. I got to pay overhead. I got to pay rent. I want to put money in my pocket. I want to take care of my wife, my family. And then before you know it, wow, instead of me getting $100, I'm getting 1,000. Well, instead of 1,000, I'm getting 10,000. Now I'm making millions. Now I'm making billions.
Well, these even at the local level, I've had the pleasure to sit in when I was doing audiovisual, a Tampa General Hospital meeting with like the CEO, all the big guys at one of these hotels, and billions of dollars just of everything. And they have a whole strategy about how we're going to open up more urgent cares because we want to keep the emergency rooms free and all this and that. Oh, and by the way, they clean up someone jumped out of a window last night. We can't let anyone hear about that. Stuff like that. So there's such a huge, even at the individual local hospital levels that are in the pockets of all these companies, whether it's insurance, pharmaceutical, whatever it would be. And it's just scary because they've already had some developments in other countries that we don't have here. Now, whether or not it's real, I know they said something about the UK having some sort of cancer curing vaccine or something like that. I don't know if you heard that.
Well,
I'm not the first person to say to vaccinate yourself immediately from whatever pops up. But I think that the ability for the technological developments will happen. It's just, will they be made public, and will they be made public?
Well, that's the thing is
and accessible.
The elites of the world are probably already using those technologies.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're not. Those things. It's like even the AI that we're all getting right now. That they've been doing that stuff for decades.
50s, yeah. Well, I heard it started out in the 50s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I heard it started out in the 50s, and now it's just getting...
Well, it was a goal, I'm sure, from the beginning.
The actual technology, yes. Or maybe the outcome, the desired outcome, or this, but the technology itself, the chips are getting so aggressively, they're iterating so aggressively and innovating so. Now, whether they had that or not, that's fine. But even if it's getting down to the consumer level, where they have this one, I think it's Microsoft now, because I watched a video on it, and it is a chip, and it's got like 100,000 times the computing power, and they have to keep it in like liquid nitrogen, and they had a whole, we'll have to find the video and put it up or something like that in one of the clips, but it's crazy, it's like a technological, innovation, like a novelty. So it's like, who knows what will happen in 10 years? And that's what I was saying about the AI is right now we're at a good place where it was a big, the technology's, more about the gaming and all that, at least from my vision. And maybe it's always been different in the business side because I'm coming up through it. I grew up with technology, right? Computers and stuff like that. Now I see where it's such a big path towards all these features that can be automated. And if you can hold on to AI and start your own something and grab it to the future, you can make a lot of money. But in 10 years, maybe a lot of those things are already replaced. You see what I'm saying? Maybe a lot of these jobs are automated. So it's such a big growing period right now.
The thing that I see, being, an owner of a couple businesses, I realized the hardest thing is getting people. Mm-hmm. And like we just said a few minutes ago, it's that lack of common courtesy that society is really weak on, I don't know, I was raised up that you respect people, you be fair to people, you treat everybody as you'd want to be treated. Nowadays, it's people they don't give a shit about you.
No.
It's like, no big deal. Hey, I'll go find another job, or I'll go do this, or hey, I don't have to live up to expectations. Nobody's going to tell me how to live my life. And it's like, well, guess what? Now you're making us entrepreneurs go, we need to find something that's better than human. Because people get sick. People call out. People have to go on vacation. People only want to work 4 or 5 hours. They don't want to work. Well, hell, if I get a robot or some kind of AI system that can work 24 hours a day, 365, don't call out or do nothing, who's going to make more profit?
Yeah.
And more accountability. And all we have to worry about is the thing breaks down, So we pull that one out, we put another one in or something. Mm-hmm. Right now, for us to find an employee, we have to go through thousands of resumes. Sure. We have to spend thousands of hours just looking through resumes and interviewing people and taking the time to train them. They go, I'm not going to show up today. I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to do anything. It's like AI is the future.
And those are the types of jobs that will get replaced first by AI. And those are and that in and of itself, because that robot or whatever, computer program that is functioning on its own, does not require money in order to function, should drop the cost of living for every single human being walking Earth.
Well, you would think so.
Every single time a technology like that starts to be introduced, and I'm not talking about dropping it significantly, incrementally, it should be dropping. It should not be going up. Once the system is built and it's automated, at that point, the cost of living should be dropping. And that is the biggest crushing pressure that most people are under, is the cost of living.
Well, you're right, but look at it this way. We're not going to stop producing people. So even though we're going to have less jobs, that means the cost of living is going to go higher, if you ask me, because I got to feed more people. There's more demand on food.
The people that had those jobs are, at least nowadays, more likely going to turn towards unemployment or government assistance because they don't have the.
But
they don't know if you've been scooping popcorn your whole life, and now there's that robot that you might have seen that Elon Musk has one that scoops them. They have to go somewhere, and depending, they're in that job.
But if the cost of living drops with it, they don't need to be on that government assistance.
But
this is the thing: we've gotten into this mindset where everybody needs a job.
I know.
No, not everybody needs a job. It used to be that only the father went out and everybody stayed home.
I respect that, but you know what
then they took and brought all the women into the workforce. And even though now you got this double the population doing all these jobs, the cost of living is continuing to rise. It becomes a crazy perpetual cycle. That's why we as a society need to start talking about what is causing that. Why do we need that? And in the Venus Project, when Jacques Fresco was talking about it, you did get to this spot where all of a sudden nobody needs to work because everything is provided.
But who's providing for it? But that was the question. Somebody has to do the initial. Somebody's going to have to say, okay, I'm going to supply all this stuff. I'm going to supply this what? Somebody's going to have to maintain that environment.
And that's where those jobs would still exist, but at a minimal cost of living. Now that father of the house could go out and do that maintenance job in order to maintain the minimal cost that it is to be able to keep your family functioning, instead of $500 electric bills and $200 water bills, $150 garbage bill.
But you know why that is? Because these states like us, we're only allowing one Duke come in here. We're only allowing one. If we had competition in our electric, in our utility costs, in areas, then we'd have a lot better price. The bottom line is you have to have competition to get fair market.
Yes, and the most important one, and I'm just going to throw this out there for people to digest and figure it out. The biggest industry that we need to have competition in is the creation of currency. There cannot be one centralized currency, because then that currency is going to be constantly debased. And the cost of living is going up, not because there's so much more work being done to provide it, but because
they got crypto, they got
crypto needs to actually become something that you can pay your bills with, so that it's competing with dollars and everything else.
Bitcoin, suppose you can. You can go get ATMs.
You have to transfer it to dollars in order to do it.
See, the only problem is, I think the problem is with that is, let's just say from the day of time, we either had a cow or a dollar bill. You know what I'm saying? And the problem is, you're going to take millions of people to try to convert to that. Hell, the average person doesn't even know how to freaking save $10.
Let it organically happen first.
It won't be in our lifetimes.
It could happen. So you could start tomorrow.
I don't think they grab onto that. I don't think people would grab onto that.
I just get done doing a job for $1,200. Okay. If instead of him paying me $1,200, instead he gave me 0.216 whatever number Bitcoin for the job, okay. And then I can turn around and instead of my water bill being $200, it's 0.016 Bitcoin. I can transfer the Bitcoin to them, and my water bill's paid.
Well,
if you start doing that, doesn't mean that everybody has to do that tomorrow. You can still pay it in cash.
But once again, you got to have more systems involved for that.
But those systems already exist. The blockchain already exists.
I'm saying the Duke Energy doesn't have that. The school board doesn't have that. The city of Largo do not have those systems involved. So now you're going to have to pay millions of dollars to have these systems convert over. Well, I think people say this. Why are we trying to make a freaking a square out of a circle?
You don't need to. The technology is so simple right now. let's say Largo, and you pay a tax bill to Largo.
Right.
It is so easy for Largo right now to have their own Cash App account, and for me to pay them in Bitcoin, and not only pay them in Bitcoin for what I'm doing, but that Bitcoin that then they have is appreciating in value instead of devaluing like $1. So now they're making that money and building the asset.
Some is going to control that because it's stocks. Okay, let's just say we're the big boys in the stock market. We own trillions of dollars companies. We're the ones that make the freaking stock market, but not you.
And those are the people that need to be removed.
Those are the ones that no, but they're not. That's the problem. Is you're what is it? God, I keep thinking of names now. But all these big $1 trillion companies out
You're talking about like BlackRock, Vanguard.
Vanguard. I couldn't think of the names. Okay, those are ones that are manipulating the system.
Right.
Okay, they're the old ones back in the 40s, 50s. My father said they would sit back in their office and they would freaking have their scotches or their bourbons and their cigars and go, all right, we're going to let this guy, Kennedy, become president. We're going to let this dude run this. We're going to have this do that. And the problem is, what happens? Then we get corruption.
Yes.
Then, okay, but that's where we're at today.
But that's the fight we're fighting. Now, when I say the Mass Empowerment Project to people, I'm like, I understand that the beast that I'm going after seems tremendously impossible to defeat. But it is literally the only battle that humanity should be focused on right now. We need to get rid of those dudes.
Well,
and we don't have to go string them up and hang them or behead them in a public square. We need to abandon. No, but I mean that yes, as a statement, it would be wonderful.
We could go there. I mean, let's go. We could go there.
But what we can do is we can start abandoning their systems and start on a local level helping one another with our own systems.
Let's take it from his perspective, Josh. Okay, I'm the old guy here. What is your take on that mindset? I mean, what do you think about the way he's is that?
Which part? Overthrowing the highest powers to be the
Rockefellers?
Rockefellers?
About transition to like Bitcoin and different type of source of money.
I mean, I do believe that one day there will be a digital currency. I don't believe it's going to be Bitcoin. I'm really big into cryptocurrency. My whole family was able to buy our house and all this because we got on a cryptocurrency called Hex. Now, if you ever heard of that, it's on a blockchain Ethereum. Now he made his own blockchain called Pulse. His name's Richard Hart. If you ever heard of Richard Hart. And he decided to he was one of the founding developers of Bitcoin. He wanted to make a decentralized Bitcoin, basically, that is deflationary in value, and it also has a staking feature. You could stake it up for up to 15 years, has a built-in APY, and it's crazy. The game theory behind it's insane. It's super audited. They've tried to bring him down with the SEC. He won that case. It's been a whole year battle. So it's an interesting story, that. Yeah. So I'm big on that. Now, whether or not that will ever be a currency, you know what I mean? Because it's going to be hard. How is Dan going to be doing if they made it an easier on and off ramping process where it's not a KYC going through Coinbase for everything? Because whether or not you get $100 cash, you know what I mean, or get $100 in your Zelle, you know what I mean, or get paid from a job from like a W-2 or something, or a W-9, it's the same thing when you go to deposit your money. If you send me 100 Bitcoin and I deposit it through Coinbase, it's like a bank. They know the tax documents. It's the same kind of. You can do all the trading and all that in a decentralized network if you want, all the converting and all that fun stuff. But when you go to take it out, if I deposit $20,000 from Coinbase, they're going to want to question. If you don't claim it, you can get audited. So it's still where they have control over that. If it was where I could instantly go and withdraw my coins to cash and then go to the market, that would be interesting. You see what I'm saying? But there's still
that's where we're heading.
Well,
I would love for that to happen.
It's going to be a step in this phase. That's what.
That would be the game changer, in my opinion, because then they can't have their hands in it.
I mean, when Bitcoin first came out in 2009, and I was looking at it, and I read the manifesto, and I was like, man, this is beautiful. This is literally going to prove to the entire world just how stupid the Federal Reserve System is, because Bitcoin isn't going up in value.
It's going down in supply.
The U.S. dollar is going down every time that they print more money, and it against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a finite.
But don't you think
asset.
It goes back to understanding proper business sense? If we were all proper business people, the government was, hey, I understand we do have to print money to get things going, but there should be a bottom line here saying that we have to pay this debt back.
It's got to be tied to something.
Not just keep going where we keep just going, oh, we have big dollars already. And the problem is, like, that's where Doge came into place. Think about the billions of dollars that they just pissed away, giving to people. You know what it is? Honestly, I feel it's because we're too Mr. Nice Guy. Oh, you fall out, we gotta bail you out. Oh,
well,
you have
they're getting
issues.
something in return.
No, the problem is, no, they're not. How many people are sitting on Section 8 that have been on Section 8 for 10, 20 years? They haven't done anything to better for them.
Yeah,
they haven't done anything to better their lives.
No,
they
why would they?
haven't gone out and looked for a job. They haven't gotten themselves educated. But we just keep helping them. And the thing that irks the shit out of me about that, you go down any Section 8, look at those cards, and they could buy smokes. They could buy beer. They could buy whatever the hell. Why? If you need help, you know what it is? We're not making people accountable.
Well, and that's where you'll get into the
That's
argument.
where it comes down.
That's where you'll start hearing the eugenicist arguments. Like, you can go to, like, the Georgia Guidestones and before they destroyed them. And when they started putting together the ideas for a sustainable planet, they believe for real that there should only be 500 million people on the planet. So earlier on when you were talking about humanity, well, people are going to keep...
Oh, yeah.
There are people near the top of the power structure that drastically want the population reduced, and they're doing it through many means.
Bill Gates is talking about.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, we won't know for another 10 years how many people were sterilized by the mRNA vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
So that we might not be seeing a populate. We might see we already in this country have flatlined when it comes to population growth. We're at zero growth, which.
Well, I mean,
maintainable.
I don't want to say zero, but
we're at zero growth. Like, statistically, the United States.
Well, then how come everybody in their house having new kids?
Well, because how many people are
more people
falling
are dying on the other end.
Well, maybe that's something. Let's be honest, but wouldn't that sort of be a balance act?
It's supposed to be, but now that there's.
Right,
there are studies coming out saying that more and more people that got the vaccine, guys with low sperm counts and women who cannot conceive children.
Well. But we've had that problem now for decades.
Oh yeah, just the processed foods alone.
It's just the food. That's what it is. Key comes processed food. Now let's talk about you, the young generation. You guys love the McDonald's and the processed food. And well, let me ask you a question. What was the last time you and your girl sat down and cooked your own meal?
Well, I don't cook. Neither does she. So that's an easy answer. But eating my parents' food, that's.
I'm saying, what if they were to die tomorrow? What would you do? See, that's what I say to people. I feel like us generation, like you said earlier, enables you guys to just live the way you want to. I remember when I was going, my father told me, at 18, you're getting the F out. Yeah. You're getting the F out. And even though I just pushed myself a little early because I got the wrong crowd and got a party at my house and fucked up his house, I said, I'll leave it anyway. But the bottom line was, You got to come to a sense that we have to be accountable for our lives.
100%.
And the problem is we're not. That's one of the reasons why I started Foster the People. Because people go, oh, my life sucks. This is bullshit. Oh, he didn't do this. Well, she didn't do that. Well, you know why? Because you're not accountable. Worry about what makes you happy. What makes you the most profitable. If you can't cook for yourself, well, then you're fucked. If you can't earn a paycheck, then you're fucked. If you can't freaking learn how to drive, you're fucked. And stop worrying about other people. Worry about your own freaking path. Because if your parents died, you're gonna wait for me to. And guess what? You're gonna be paying extra premium. Because right now, I'll give you a prime example. I took my wife out to this little Greek restaurant here. I said, I'm trying to lose weight. We're gonna start eating healthy. Yeah, you know how a lot of that works.
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, we got this Greek salad. We've been there. We had Greek salad. It was a decent Greek side salad with potatoes on and some chicken. I had water. She had a tea. Guess how much that freaking Greek salad? And we're just talking lettuce, a little bit of beets, a little bit of olives.
It's a Greek place? I'd say low 20s per salad.
Well, this is one big.
For the whole...
one big salad?
Yeah, with the drinks and all. What was your bill?
What do you think it was?
$29.
Try again.
33?
Try again.
Get the...
Try again.
For one salad and water?
For one decent sized salad that we split.
You tell me, because I can't believe.
$49. Now, guys, let's be dead realistic about it. I could go right here in the freaking Publix, which is the most expensive place around here, and get me a head of lettuce for like $4. I could get me some olives for like about $5. I could get 2 breasts of chicken for about $10. And a little bit of seasoned oil and shit. Chop that shit all up. Oh, don't forget the potato salad. And they got the potato. So I had a scoop of potato salad, a scoop of potato salad. How much scoop of potato salad? Let's go $5 for a freaking potato salad. I'm not even up to like 15.
And remember, some of those ingredients that you bought come in jars that you can put in the refrigerator and you don't have to buy again for the next salad.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what these are all the hidden expenses that people have, and the reasons why.
But see, that's where I get fucking so aggravated. People go, "Oh, I didn't know about this shit. I didn't know about this shit. I can't do that. I can't do this." Bullshit. If my fat, bald ass can freaking do it all, any mother blankety blank can do it. Okay? What, you think I just woke up because I'm Chef Ramsay and I can freaking cook up?
And nowadays, there's so many resources online for recipes. You can ask AI and have it. If I wanted to cook and I was in a position, I would. It's just where in my life I'm not, and a lot of people my age are not. If I had to, I would. You know what I mean? But
like I said, I'm not saying negative about it. Don't take me wrong.
No, yeah.
I'm just trying to make people understand you have to be self-sufficient. You can't relate on the government. You can't relate on your freaking dog. You can't relate to anybody. You have to be self-sufficient.
I only eat, my parents cook sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes they go out.
Oh my God, they cook sometimes. What does that mean? Twice a week?
Well, that's the thing. But me and my girlfriend's enjoyment in life is going out to eat. That's our enjoyment. We don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't go clubbing, we don't do this, we don't do that. Sometimes I go, do my little DJ thing once every couple months, you know what I mean? Right. So that's our enjoyment. We like to go out to eat. And we don't have the financial burden. We could save a ton of money.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We would save a shit ton of money. That's where all my money goes.
How much do you think you spend on a monthly basis?
On food, thousands.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no. Well, that's
what do you think you spend?
Well, I got a lot more mouths to feed. So.
Well, how many feet?
But that's why I don't go out to eat.
Okay.
I go home and for me I'll make enough of meal for everybody and then make sure that the next couple days I'll eat the leftovers and that'll be my lunch at work.
There you go.
And that's in my opinion the right way to do it. I don't need a lot of food. I'd be more than happy eating cereal and eggs every night. I mean, it's not like I need to have Outback Steakhouse every night. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. It's just sometimes we like to try new restaurants.
Well, see, I guess I look at it at your age.
Yeah.
Fuck, I never did that.
Yeah.
We never had people deliver food to me. We never had
that's the extreme side of it. I have rich friends and they do nothing but DoorDash 3 meals a day.
But see, that's
they won't leave the house.
They
live off DoorDash.
But see, I look at this because what happens when the day comes, the shit hits the fan, and you can't afford it?
Yeah. Well, that's one.
The average person, okay, guys, you can bet me this till I'm blue in the face. The average person doesn't even have $2,000 in a savings account. But they can go out and buy new cars, and they can get food brought to them all the time,
clothes.
And they can have clothes and jewelry and whatever the F they want. But they don't even have a savings account. Why is that? Don't you guys ever were taught, hey, remember Grandma always said, save your money, young man, because you got to wait for a rainy day. That rainy day will come. You're going to wake up and go, fuck, my car broke down. I need $3,000. You know what we're going to do? You can take that credit card and swipe it away.
Exactly.
Swipe it away. And then guess what?
Make minimum payments with 30% interest.
And more. That's why it pisses me off that people go, well, I don't know. I don't understand. We got everything from our phones. Everything on our phones will show you how to cook, how to eat, how to fix something, how to, whatever it is. But the problem is they don't tell you about how to save money, how to get finance, how to build assets. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's where that was the main reason why I came with Foster the People, the podcast, is because people don't understand the basics. Stay in your fucking path.
Stay in your lane.
Don't worry about everybody else. Worry about you being self-sufficient. Hey, if we have a massive hurricane, your house gets fucking blown away, what are you going to do?
Right.
If you don't have any money in the bank, well, you're fucked. If you leave money in the bank when you have the hurricane and you don't take it out, you could be fucked then too. Because you might be able to get to ATMs. So you should always have, to me, you should have that little purse like I do. That's anywhere from $6,000 to $20,000 in my pocket at all times. Okay, Dave Ramsey. This one's for you, Dave Ramsey. People, you need to have a reserve for 6 months. If you got a car payment, a cell phone payment, if you have freaking a mortgage or a rent thing, you should have 6 months reserved.
Easily.
Do you have any of your friends that say they have that?
That was an interesting.
I'm probably in the better situation than some of the people. Because a lot of people I've met, and I don't hang out with people besides my girlfriend on the daily basis or even weekly basis. I'm just not a.
Yeah,
but it's the people that I've met in the same boat, and maybe it's because I'm meeting them in the industry that I meet them, which is the music industry.
Right. No.
I'm the best off, and I have massive debts, no savings, all this shit, and at least I'm not all that and homeless or addicted to cocaine or anything. You know what I mean? So it's
like I said, I don't knock anybody at all. Don't get me wrong. I was that way for the longest effing time.
Yeah.
But when I turned about 35, I said, wow, fat boy, it's time for you to get a reality check. If this person or this job or this falls out, who's going to hold the bag? Me.
It all comes down.
Not you. I always have to be the one that has to pay my rent, pay my freaking utility bills, make sure I have water, make sure that I got it. And guess what? If you're not here, what the fuck? You know, that's what I'm saying. So I've learned you have to be self-independent. And that's why I started fostering the people, to educate people to think for themselves.
And that's exactly why your message and my message have a very cohesive way of working together. And I think it's very, very funny because as you were saying that, and you were saying, it comes down to me. And when you look at my logo, it says me.
Yes.
Because I understand that it's about, I have to first off be able to take care of myself,
And my
then
family,
the circle around me.
Exactly.
And then if you're really good at it, now I could start venturing out and taking care of an even bigger circle.
Exactly.
And not with the intention of me taking care of you, but saying if
True.
we work together, we can take care of each other.
Amen,
And then you reach mass empowerment.
That's
because
it.
now you have all these people that are able to function on their own. They don't need anything from anybody. But we all make each other's lives better by working together.
That is so true.
That's the key to the Mass Empowerment Project from my perspective.
It is. It really is. You know, and
awesome,
like I said, I try to preach to the young. Hey, we've got people we know that are older than I am, and they're just barely hanging on by a string. And God forbid, if somebody pulls the carpet just a little tiny bit, their life is going to go to the shit store.
Well, I'll tell you, I do believe that part of this political, financial reset that we're about to experience, I do believe they're going to test the population by turning off communication for a little while. How long they do it for, I think depends on how much chaos ensues. But I do believe that there is a percentage of the population that is so lost spiritually, mentally, everything, that if all of a sudden the phones weren't working for a few days, they would take their own lives.
Well, I want to bring that up to you guys. Something I'm going to apply on this, and we're going to have to wrap this up, gentlemen. I recently have been making a point that on Sundays, I don't even use my damn phone.
Smart.
Okay? And when I'll look just in case somebody texts, but I'm not calling, I'm not texting. I think this gets put aside. Also, when me and the wife go out to eat, we go out quite a bit. I told her, leave it in the purse, leave it in the car. We don't need it. We're going to spend this 1 hour, 2 hour time, just us talking about this situation.
Right.
We don't need that damn phone. That phone is not going to make us or break us.
It could break you.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to make you, but the phones could break you.
Well, I mean, some people say, oh, no, it may be that $2 million deal. So, you know, it depends on who
Bullshit.
you are. But to me, you should have quality time, effective time, and I don't know what keyword I'm looking for, but it's like that you got to be able to put your life in segments, okay? We have our podcast time. You have your personal time. You have your business time. You have your DJ time. You have your parents' time. You have to say, when I'm with my parents or this group of people, it's going to focus on them. When I'm at business, I'm going to focus just on business. At this podcast, we're going to focus just on the podcast.
I think, though, a lot of, especially my generation, even the generation coming up next, it's going to be harder for them to do that because everything is so attention spans getting really short.
Oh, it is.
They're switch tasking on everything that they're doing. And they just need that instant gratification. You know, that's what the phone is. Oh, scroll to the next video, scroll to the next video. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it happens fast.
And like you said before, that's probably intentional. That was set up for the generations to come. But I don't know, but it could just be the technological advancements, but it's going to be harder for people to see the value in being able to do one thing. Oh, I'm just doing business. I'm just having personal time with a loved one. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be harder for
I see what you're
people
saying, but then
to
I
grasp that.
I go, okay, let's be honest. We all have 24 hours, okay? And I know sometimes things are situational, all right? All of a sudden, somebody walks in the door, okay? So if you really want to spend time with that person and to get to know that person, you should have no obstacles. You should be able to put everything down and say, okay, I'm going to give you whatever you think is appropriate for you, 15, 20 minutes, unconditional. That situation. Okay, you know how many people you talk to and you know you're looking up and they're just like fading out in the fucking blue?
No. Oh,
I've done it to people many times. I'm going, what the hell? This person's trying to have a conversation to you and you're just like fading out in left field.
It all comes down to remaining conscious.
Yeah.
It's very easy in today's world with the gadgets and gizmos that we have to be unconscious inside of your own experience. And that, I'm guilty of it. I have gone into zombie mode many times. But you have to be able to catch yourself when you're in that zombie mode and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Am I even alive right now? And then recalibrate. Let's reset myself back up. Yes, I am actually experiencing this existence. And here I am hanging out with Dan and Josh.
There is for the forthcoming generation, though, a definite difference, though. Have you ever seen those videos where you'll be scrolling and it will be an ad, but there's also a video of jars rolling down a cliff or something, you know, or people cleaning carpets or something like that. It's a piece of content or like a clip or something. Then there's this
a distraction underneath.
It's
like my son holding his iPad and watching TV. I'm like, dude,
exactly.
You're not paying attention to either one, really.
But they're training, and the reason that happens, because I was doing e-commerce for a while, and that was a strategic play because those videos had longer watch times, better metrics, and everyone started doing that to the point where people were literally making those videos because they were getting paid by the algorithm. This brain rot is what they call it. So it's training this generation though to not be able to, like you said, focus on something or do, you know what I mean, be able to focus just long enough to actually get a message across or a meal eaten with a loved one or something. And it's different than being able to, you disorienting or dissociating during a conversation because you think about something. That's different than having to have multiple things in front of you. You know what I mean? To keep you.
Think, okay, let's be when we were growing up, right? When we were younger, hell, we only had 3 freaking stations on the TV.
Yeah.
Now you look at you got like 4 million stations. You know, and it's like 100 of them are the same damn thing over and over and over again. You know, and it's like
99% of it's crap.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, but like I said, I think it goes down to understanding the basics of common courtesy. If you come in to talk to me, I should say, hey, Josh, I'm sorry, but right now I can't talk to you. We can schedule this. Or go, all right, Josh, let's take 10, 15 minutes and talk this out. Or, Josh, I can't do it right now. It's just common courtesy. And it's, dude, I think it's sort of rude when you're having a conversation, somebody pulls out their phone and starts going through the shit. Like I said, it goes back to the common courtesy.
But like to Josh's point, we're talking about now a generation that from the time they were
3, had an iPad.
They don't know anything else except having that thing inside
their whose fault is that?
It's definitely our fault. I mean, I'm still trying to find my balance in this situation.
The social norm.
Becoming the norm, yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, like you said in one of the other podcasts, it's about not having an engaged parent to a degree as well. It's easier for them to just give them an iPad, and that way they can go to their own escape, whether it's gaming or a TV show or they just don't want to have to deal with the responsibility they created. Right. You know what I mean? So now that kid's trained or adapted to having that technology, and when you try to take it from them, their brain is, they're developing with that.
Well, I think one of the things I think camping is extremely important. If I was going to say it in this short, going someplace where there is no signal for a few days and allowing yourself to completely detach from the devices for 2 to 3 days at least is good. And I know this through personal experience with my kids. Like last time I took them camping, that first night I watched all 4 of them. Like, they did not know what to do with themselves at all. But then by the second, third, fourth day, they're off doing things. Yeah. They're going down the creek. They're going on adventures because they're still looking to fill their time. Yeah. And the device became the excuse to not have to do anything because it's right there. So would it be ideal for us to be able to manage that on the daily basis in our concrete jungle that we currently live in? Absolutely. It would be great if we could. But just every now and then checking yourself. It's like if you have a drinking problem, every now and then take a month off just to check yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hell, if you drink every day, take it out for one day. At least start something, man.
Start somewhere.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. Josh, what's your final word for Foster the People?
I liked what you said last week. Work to be 1% better every day. It's not about making I'm never going to touch alcohol again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe it's just as simple as not today. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So that was a great mission. I think that's something that maybe we should even have a podcast about one day is, being 1% better every single day. So
because people don't understand, if you do 1% now and 1% now, it becomes a snowball. The snowball gets bigger and bigger, and before you know it, you're accomplishing everything in your life. Mm-hmm. All right, what do you got for a final take, Josh?
All right, my final take would be this, and it's something that I work on myself, so don't think that I have it all figured out, but work towards being the type of person that other people want to be near, especially in a crisis situation. Amen. Be the type of person that people want to have as a neighbor when the shit hits the fan.
Amen.
Because you're so solid.
Well, that goes down to, let's be honest with you guys, like I said, common courtesy. Treat others with respect. And try to help each other out. Come on, guys. Foster people ain't just about freaking finances or it's about encouraging other people to nurture other people. That's why I did this. I was tired of people saying, I can't do this, we can't do that. That's a mindset. And we've talked about this. If you want to have the negative Nancy mindset, well, you go for it. Look how many people. There's a gentleman out there, I don't know who he is, he's a pastor that has no arms and no legs. And he manages to get through life. All right? We bitch about a pain, we bitch about this. But think about it. How's the guy feed himself? How's the guy wipe his butt? How does he do anything? Right. So, like I said, just take it, stay in your lane, focus on giving back to the community, and try to figure out ways how to improve your life 1% at a time. All right, guys. Hey, we appreciate being here at Foster the People Podcast. We look forward to seeing you again. Cheers.
Cheers.
And thanks, Josh, for being on our podcast.
Yes, it was nice having you on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.